Hello boys and girls, in this video we are going to solve some problems on sets. Okay, so we have three questions already on the whiteboard. Let us see one by one. Okay, the very first question, A is equal to, what is this curly braces meant for? It's a set. It indicates a set. So which means A is a set. The odd numbers between 4 and 10 inclusive. Okay, so which means the elements like the odd numbers, the list of odd numbers between 4 and 10, including 4 and including 10. Okay, so list the elements of A. Okay, so what is this is given here? This is a statement that is given here, and using that statement you have to write an equivalent set. Okay, so A is a set. Always the set is indicated by a capital letter. Okay, it can be A, B or C, D or anything, but it should be a capital letter. Okay, so let's try to solve this one. A is equal to the part A. The set A is equal to, list the elements of A. So that means A is the set, so it should be in curly braces. What are those elements? Those elements including 4 and 10, odd numbers. Is 4 an odd number? No, it's not an odd number, right? So the odd numbers between 4 and 10 starts with 5, 7 and 9 and 10. How about 10? 10 is an even number. So though it is here it is given 10 inclusive, but that we should not include because 10 is a even number. Okay, so this is the set A. This is set A. So how many elements are there? There are 3 elements are there. What are those elements? This is called set. These are called elements. Element 1, element 2, element 3. So there are 3 elements. What are those elements? 5, 7, 9. Okay, so because it is a set, those elements are separated by comma and enclosed within parenthesis. Let us see. So what is the part B? This is set. What is the cardinal number of A? Cardinal number of A is equal to, how do we write cardinal number? Cardinal number like this. Cardinal number of A is equal to, what is the cardinal number of A? So first of all, what is meant by cardinal number? Cardinal number is the number of elements in that set. A is the set, and how many elements are there in set A? How many elements? There are 3 elements. Okay, 3 elements are there. Cardinal number of A is 3 elements. Okay, let us see the part B. What is part B? List the 8 subsets of A. For a given set A, derive 8 subsets. Okay, so there is a formula to find out the number of subsets that can be written for a given set is equal to 2 to the power of cardinal number of that set. Cardinal number of that set, given set. So what is the given set here? Given set is A. Okay, so number of subsets is equal to 2 to the power of A. Number of subsets is equal to 2 to the power of cardinal number of A. Number of subsets that can be written for A is equal to 2 to the power of cardinal number of A. So what is the cardinal number of A? Is 3. That is equal to 2 to the power of 3. That is equal to 8. 8 subsets can be written. Okay. Okay, the part A is finished, and let us write those 3 subsets for a given set. So how can we write? So the subsets is a set that has some of the elements or all of the elements of a given set. Some of the elements or all of the elements. So subsets of A is equal to, so what are the subsets? First, start with the 5 with a single element. You can write one side. So that is going to look like this one, and with this 7 it's going to look like this one, with the 9. So these are 3 subsets with a single element in it. Okay, and now let's take 2 elements at a time. So 5 7 you can take, 5 9 you can take, 7 9 you can take. 5 7, 5 9 and 7 9. So how many subsets we got? 1 2 3 4 5 6. 6 subsets we got. So how many more we can write? We can derive, as per the formula, we can derive up to 8 subsets. So this is with a single element, single unique elements, we derived 3 subsets. With 2 elements, we derived another 3 subsets. Including all those elements, we can derive another subset. Like that one is the given set itself, 5 7 9. What is the other subset? That's a null set. Okay, null set can be written here. So the null set is a subset of every set. Remember that null set is a subset of every set. Similarly, the set is a subset to itself. Okay, that is why we have two added here. So including the other subsets, there are 8 subsets that can be written for a given set. So the part B is also completed. What are the subsets? This one, this one, this one, this one. Like this, there are 8 subsets. Okay, list the 8 subsets of A. These are all the 8 subsets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that's how we should do it. Subset, what is the symbol for it? That is this one. This is a subset. For example, you consider this as a set, something like a S. 5, 7 is a set S. Okay, this is the set, right? 5, 7 is a set. So assume that you represent that one with a letter S. Because S is a subset for A, you can write like this. Okay, so this is the symbol for subset. Okay, when you write it, S is a subset of A. That's how you should write. You should read this one. While writing, this is the symbol for subset. Okay. Similarly, null set is a subset of A. Null set is represented with this one. Null set is a subset of A. Or you can also write A is a subset of A. That is also true. That statement is also true. Okay. The null set is a subset for every set, and similarly, the set is a subset for itself. How can we derive the subset? Like, by putting different combinations of elements into the set, you can derive the subsets. So here I took only single elements as a set. So like that I got 3 subsets. Similarly, here I took 2 elements at a time. Like that I derived 3 more subsets, and with all elements I derived 1 more subset. And with null set is a subset for every set. Okay. So I'm going to erase the first sum. Let's go to the second sum. Describe in words each of the following sets. Okay. So what are the ways of writing a set? There are 2 ways of writing a set. One is list form, and other one is a rule form. Okay. So what form is this? Is this in? The set A is in what form? This is a list form, because these are the list of elements already given. So that is why this set A is written in the list form. Okay. So here it is asked like describe it in words. Okay, it's not even the rule form, just to describe it in words. So how can I write? A is a set of ovals in alphabets. A is a subset of ovals in alphabets. To distinguish, to even more clearly define it, you can put it as a small alphabets, small letters of alphabets. Okay, A is a set of ovals in alphabets. That's how you can describe it in words. Okay. The second one, B is equal to Tuesday and Thursday. So is there any common character that we can clearly define these 2 days in a week? Tuesday and Thursday. Yeah, both are working days, but we cannot write they are working days, because there are also other days which are working days. For example, Monday is a working day which you have to go to school or offices are open. Similarly, Wednesday is also working day. So that is something is not clearly defining these elements. Okay, the definition of set is a well-defined collection of elements. You should be able to clearly define those elements. Okay, so that is not going to hold good. The other way of writing this set in words is probably days in a week that starts with the T, isn't it? I don't see any other elements that are going to start with the letter T. So that's how you can write it. Okay. So if I want to write that one back into the list form, I'll only get these 2 days. I won't get any other day. Okay. That's how you can verify it. Like you are writing it in words, and similarly translating back into element form, you'll get the same set. You should get the same set. Okay. So B is, so this one, B is set of weekdays starts with T. Okay. A set of weekdays starts with T. Okay. Okay. And that's how you can write it in words. Okay. The third part, if you see the C part, if you see it, Z is equal to Z is a set. All these are sets. That is why they are written in the capital letters. Okay. That's conventions and the way you write those elements. It all matters. Okay. It's all important. And you need to put a comma between those elements. Okay. You need to get some familiarity as how to write different forms of set. Okay. The list form, whether it is a list form, whether it is element, whether it is the rule form, or putting as a writing some element is belongs to some set. So those things, the convention is really important. So the other set, if you take part C, Z is equal to spring, summer, autumn, and winter. So how can you describe that in the words? So G is, these are all the seasons in a year, isn't it? Are there any other seasons apart from these four? No, there are only 4 seasons. So G is a set of seasons in a year. Okay, so if you want to write this statement into a list form, you will get only these elements. You won't get any other elements. Okay, element can be a number, element can be a letter, element can be a word. Sometimes element can be a sentence also, but those sentences should be separated with a comma. Okay, because it is a sentence, you don't put a full stop there. You write a full sentence, put a comma. That distinguish between the two elements. Alright, so we described each of these sets in words. Described each of these sets in words. Okay, so we finished the second sum. Let's go to the third sum. The third sum. Okay, so what is the sum states? A group of 70 people were asked whether they like comedy or science fiction films. Okay, in a classroom there are 70 students and they were all asked, okay, what movie you like? So 60 said they liked comedy. 60 said they liked comedy. Okay, it does not mean that they don't like science fiction. Okay, they said they like comedy. Fine. Okay, they may also like a science fiction. Okay, they only said that I like comedy. Okay, it does not mean that they don't like the science fiction. 60 people said they like comedy. 2 people said they don't like anything. Okay, they are very clear. The 2 people is not going. It doesn't like anything, neither comedy nor science fiction. And 8 said they like science fiction only. Okay, 8 people said they said only science fiction. Okay, that means they are only limited to science fiction. Only limited to science fiction. They do not like comedy at all. They don't like comedy. Okay, so there are 3 parts. There are 2 parts we have here in the problem. How many people like science fiction only? So for any such problem like that, the better approach is to go with the Venn diagram. Okay, so the Venn diagram, every set, there are 2 sets here, 2 sets of people here. The set of people who like science fiction, the set of people who likes comedy. So every set is represented by a circle in Venn diagrams. Okay, this is one set of people. This is another set of people. So you give some letter to each set. This is one set. This circle is one set. This circle is another set. When you're writing Venn diagram, each set should have some overlapping. Should have some common portion. Okay, some common portion. Whether in the real sum somebody is liking both of them or not, second thing. But still you need to maintain this overlapping. Okay, I said, say 5 people like only comedy and 6 people like only science fiction. Only, I use the word only. It does not mean that you write it like this. It does not mean that you write the Venn diagram like this. Even then you have to maintain this overlapping. You have to maintain that overlapping. Since I said only, that means you have to fill here 5 and you have to fill here 6. There is no common portion. You can leave it like that. Or if you still want it to be more clear, you can put a 0. There's no harm. Okay? That's fine. The Venn diagram. How do we write a Venn diagram? Venn diagram. Each set in the given statement represents a circle. And every circle should have some common area. Means they should overlap each other. Each circle should overlap each other. Okay. So this is a universal set. What is a universal set? What is that we are studying? The universal set is something something into consideration, like the set that is under consideration. What is this under consideration? The set of students in the class. So that itself represents the universal set, because we are concerned about the people in that particular class. So the entire square or rectangle here represents the universal set. So U. Universal set is always represented with the letter U. And how many people are there? 70 people. So you need to put it in 70 in bracket. Okay, so let's assume there are two set of people, one like a science fiction, other like a comedy. So those who like science fiction, you can represent with this S for this set, science fiction, and the comedy people. The students that like a comedy, you can represent with the letter C. Again, set is every time if you want to represent with the letter, you should use the capital words. Okay, so let's go by again. 60 said they like comedy. Okay, 60 said you like comedy. So can I put 60 here? No, I cannot put like this, because the 60 people, they may like only comedy, or there are some people, that's why I said, like, some of those people may also like a science fiction. So that is why 60 people, some of them may also fall in here. That is why when such a statement is given, you should not simply fill it like that. Okay, so let's discuss. We have no clarity how many people only like comedy. Okay, together there are 60 people. So together, the entire circle, there are 60 people. Right? Yeah, that is fine. But that 60 you cannot fill it here. How many people like the sign? Okay, let's 60 said they like the comedy. Okay, let's keep that aside. We should not fill it with that statement. We should not fill any of the regions now. Two said they like neither comedy nor science fiction. This is clearly defined. Two people, they don't like anything. They don't fall in here in this circle or in this circle. So they don't fall outside the circle. So what is the outside portion? This is all the outside portion. So there are two people said. So two you can write anywhere, here, doesn't matter. So I am putting 2 here. Is it? Okay. Said they like two said they like neither comedy nor science fiction. And 8 said they like the science fiction only. So this is something they said it's clearly defined, like only. That means science fiction only 8. So this is something you can fill here. Okay. Something you can fill here. Isn't it? Okay. Now, how many people like science fiction only? 8 said they like science fiction only. How many people like science fiction only? That's clearly obvious. Like it's only 8 people who is liking science fiction. That is fine. Okay. Now the question is, say for example, 70. The total students are 70 is equal to the people here, the students here, the students here, the students here plus students here should be equated to all these numbers here. So here we don't know. Say assume that it is an x for now. Here you can consider this as a y. Okay, x and y. X, y. So together, how many people are there? Together, the people that are going to like both science fiction and comedy. How many people are there? X people. How many people are only going to like comedy? Y people are there. So how many people like comedy based on this Venn diagram? How many people like a comedy? X plus y, isn't it? So you should not exclude this one. These 8 people, they like both science and comedy. Sorry, X people like science and comedy. Y people like only comedy. X plus y is equal to that. This is one statement. X plus y is equal to how many people? They say 60 people. Okay, that is one thing. And second, equation that you can derive here is that 8 plus x plus y plus 2. This one, this one, this one, this one. If you sum all of these, should be equal to 70. Okay, so there are two equations we derived. These are the two equations that we derived based on the given information. X plus y is equal to 60 and 8 plus x plus y plus 2 is equal to 60. So you put this one here, x plus y is equal to 60 here. So is it coming to equal? Yes. 8 plus 60 plus 2. If you put x plus y value as 60, 8 plus 60 plus 2 is equal to how much? It's coming to 70. So this is true. This is true, isn't it? But 8 plus y is equal to, sorry, x plus y is equal to 60. This is another equation. This is another equation. So the question is that how many people like science fiction only? So which we already have here. 8 is a simple, straightforward. It's given in the sum itself, science fiction, and 8 said they like science fiction only. It's already given. Okay, the answer is 8. What is the maximum number that could have liked? That could have liked both comedy and science fiction. The maximum number. That means what is the maximum value of x? We have only one equation, x plus y is equal to 60. Using that equation, there are no two equations. Like if you have two equations, you can clearly solve for x and y. We given only one equation, and using that, what is the maximum value of x, so that this equation will be satisfied. Okay. You don't need to take any negative numbers. Okay, because here what is that we are considering? We are only considering the number of students. Okay, don't consider into negative numbers and don't go that much deep into the problem. But x plus y is equal to 60, and you also don't take a decimal numbers, because the number of students is always a whole number. Okay, there won't be any decimal numbers. So x plus y is equal to 60. What is the maximum value of x? What is the maximum value of x? Maximum value of x in this case is 60. It cannot be more than 60. Say for example, if it is 61, what will be y? What will be y? Minus 1. Okay, it cannot be like that. As I said, like it's we are studying about the number of students. It cannot be negative numbers. It cannot be negative numbers. The maximum value of x using this equation, the maximum value of x is equal to 60. In such case, y becomes a 0. That means 60 people liking both. There are 0 people that like only the comedy. 0 people that like only the comedy. In such case, if you go with this maximum number of students that could have liked both comedy and science fiction. Okay, so the x will be 60. X will be 60. Only that is the maximum possible x. It cannot be beyond 60. Okay, so x can be 20 also. If x is 20, what will be y? 40. Okay, but that is not the maximum possibility. X can be 40 also, but that is not the maximum possibility. If x is 40, y will be 20. If x is 30, y will be 30. If x is 50, y will be 10. But if x is 60, y will be 0. So that is the possibility of having x as the maximum. Okay, that is why x is equal to 60. So this is one possibility. This is not accurate. Okay, it's only telling the maximum number of people that could have liked both comedy and science fiction. So x is 60. So since he is asking the maximum number of people could have, so you can fill this Venn diagram like this. This is the possibility. This is the maximum possibility. This is the possibility where the maximum number of people could have liked both science fiction and comedy. Those number of people are 60. Okay. Yeah. The reason why we are not able to clearly tell the number here, because we could able to establish only one equation, that is x plus y is equal to 60. If there are two equations, we could have solved for x and y. We could have precisely tell, okay, this is x and this is y. And the question is also asked like, what is the maximum number that could have liked both comedy and science fiction? All right. Okay, so hope this is clear. So we solved the three sums, and can I have one more question? One more problem? Okay, let's go with it. Yeah.
An observational study
An observational study
was carried
was carried
out of people was carried out of people
okay
who used the coffee machine
who
used
used the coffee machine
in a supermarket. In a supermarket.
in a supermarket. Okay.
Of those surveyed, of those surveyed,
Okay.
now writing bullet points.
Okay.
140 had bought a scone,
140 bought a
scone,
scone.
SCONE,
Mhm.
scone. Next, 100 had bought a bar,
100 bought a chocolate bar. A bar. Okay.
10 had bought a bar and a scone,
10 has bought
a bar and a scone,
a bar and scone.
and 30 had bought
Bought
neither a bar nor a scone. Neither a bar nor a scone.
not a scone.
The first part of the question is
Okay.
represent this information on a Venn diagram. The second part of the question is how many people were surveyed. The third one is how many people
1 second. Okay.
how many people bought a scone but not a bar,
Bought a scone.
but not a bar.
A bar.
That's it.
That's it. Okay. So there are three parts were given in the sum. Alright, yeah. So as always, like any such problem statements are given, it's always advisable to put this information into a Venn diagram so that number of things you can easily tell, like how many people only like a scone, how many people only how many people who bought only the scone, how many people who only bought the bar, how many people who bought both bar and scone, how many people bought neither a scone nor a bar. So that kind of information you can easily tell. If you put this information into Venn diagram, it's easy to tell. And represent this information in the Venn diagram is also part of the sum. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so this is a universal set which is in the rectangular shape. How many people are there in the universal set? How many people were surveyed? There is no clear information. That information is not given. Okay, so which is not known to us. Okay, so U is not known to us. So that is why we cannot put a number there. Okay, so there are two set of people. One who bought a scone, one set of people who bought a scone, another set of people who bought a bar. Okay, so each set should be represented with a circle and there should be some overlapping. This is how overlapping should be. Okay. So those who bought a scone, you represent them with a letter S. Those who bought a bar, you represent them with the letter B. With the letter B. So let's read this one again. 140 bought a scone, which means that 140 should be here and should also be distributed here in the common portion, in the overlapping area, and here also. Okay, 140 should be represented here and here. 100 bought a bar. 100 should be distributed here and here. But how much here is not clearly given. Okay, 100 bought a bar. That means 100 people should be distributed here and here. Together, the sum of these two should be 100. Okay. 10 has bought a bar and scone. Okay, so this we can easily put it into the Venn diagram. 10 has bought a bar and a scone. That is they purchased both. Both means it should be in overlapping area. So let's take third part, and using that third part you can fill this. Which is 10. 10 bought both scone and a bar. And bought both scone and bar. Okay. Okay. 30 had bought neither a bar nor a scone. So they did not buy anything. So that's why they should be outside. They should be outside. These are number of elements. Okay. This is not an element. 10 is not an element. If it is element, I would have represented with a dot here. Okay. Because it's not an element. Rather it is the number of elements. That's why I simply put a number there. A number there. Okay. Okay. That's not an element. Remember that. Yeah. Okay. So that I filled. Let's go back to again the first statement. What is the first statement? 140 bought a scone. 140 bought a scone. So this one here plus this one here should be equal to 140. So the S is 140 here, right? And B, how many people bought a bar? 100 people bought a bar. 100 people bought a bar. Okay. Here plus the number of people here, should be equal to 140. Assume that it is an x plus 10 is equal to 140. Okay, so let's assume that initially x, that means x plus 10 is equal to 140. Isn't it? Sum of this one and this one should be equated to this one, because 140 is the people who bought a scone. Some of them bought both, but there are also people who bought only the scone. Those people you consider as an x. So x plus 10 is equal to 140. X is equal to 140. If a 10 goes to the other side, it becomes minus 10. That is equal to 130. So x we solved, and that is 130. Okay. So in place of x, you can write 130. Similarly, let's go to the other statement. 100 bought a bar. So that's why I put for B, I put 100. But that 100 should be equated to the number of people here and the number of people here. Okay. Number of people here, number of people here. So assume the number of people here are y. So y plus 10, this one plus this one is equal to 100. What is y? 100. If a plus 10 goes to the other side, 100 minus 10, that will be 90. Y is equal to 90. So y, in place of y, you can put 90. Okay, so now we filled, like the Venn diagram is complete. Like we filled this portion, this portion, this portion, this portion, this portion, this portion. Okay, there is one thing missing. What is this one? How many people were surveyed? So to find out you, what you have to do is, okay, let's go one by one. Represent this information in Venn diagram. We filled it to the maximum extent except this one. Okay, so we will fill in the due course. We'll fill that part also. How many people were surveyed? Yeah, that is a very second question. How many people were surveyed? So to find out total number in the universal set, what you have to do is, this is a bit tricky. Okay, do not use these numbers. Instead, use these numbers. This number, this one, this one, this one. Okay, sum of this one, this one, this one, this one should be equated to the universal set. The people in the total number of people who were surveyed. Okay, let's do that. U is equal to 130 plus 10 plus 90 plus 30. How much is it coming to? 90 plus 10 plus 90 is 100. 100, 230. 230 plus 30, 260. U is equal to 260. 260 people were surveyed. Okay. Again, while you're calculating the total number of people or total number of elements in this total universal set, do not consider the numbers here and here. Okay, because they don't give the clear information. Like 140 people, some of them may be here, some of them might be here. Because the 140, some of the people in 140, they also they also purchased a bar. Some of the people in 100, they also purchased a scone. So that is why you should not use those numbers. Okay, that's not giving a clear information. But this one, they liked only scone, 130. 10, they liked both scone and bar. 90, they purchased only bar. 30, they did not buy anything. So some of these, this one should be equal to universal set, which is 260. Okay. The second sum. Now the Venn diagram is complete because we filled everything of that Venn diagram. Okay. How many people bought a scone but not a bar? How many people bought a scone but not a bar? How many people? That means how many people bought only the scone? Okay. This also means that how many people bought only the scone? How many people bought only the scone? 140 people bought only the scone. So third sum, C is equal to how many people bought a bar, means that is 130. Okay, so from the Venn diagram we can simply fill this out. Okay, so that's how any questions given on the sets, any word problems are given in this format, it's always advisable to go with the Venn diagram. Whether it is asked or not, go with the Venn diagram, put all that information in Venn diagram, so that it's clearly to solve the problems that are given in the problem statement. Okay, so we solved 4 sums. Now we'll stop it here for today. We'll meet up again with